All right, we're sitting here with Mike Grame from True Blue Marine Surveyors. He's the gentleman who helped me out surveying YOLO when we purchased our 42-foot Antares. So, Mike, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your business?
True Blue Marine, we've been in business for about 6 years now. Started out doing mobile marine service. I've been in the marine industry myself since I was 15, so I guess going on 26 years now. I started off as I was a bottom painter, basically. Worked my way up and became a mechanic and an electrician. Worked my way up through the boatyard ranks.
Okay, so you say you came up with working the maintenance and everything. So is that like you were ABOS certified then, and then that's how you kind of got into surveying, or did you go to a surveyor school or something?
Well, I basically Came up through the school of hard knocks. Worked my way up through the, like I said, through the boatyard ladder, and learned how to fix engines, how to do wiring, and learned the basics. After I graduated college, I got a job working as a service manager in a large boatyard, and things just kind of progressed from there. For a while, ended up going to for some certifications, my ABYC certifications in marine systems and marine electrical. I think having that background has definitely helped me with my surveying business.
Well, I would have to imagine, when you're looking at mechanical portions of a boat, it helps to know what you're looking at.
Yeah, for sure.
So how long have you been operating True Blue Marine Services as a surveyor?
As a surveyor, about 4.5 years now.
Yeah. Did you start with something different besides surveying when you started the company?
I was doing mainly mobile marine service.
Okay, all right. When you're surveying a boat for a new customer for a pre-purchase survey, what are you looking at? And I guess because most people relate it to a home inspector. When you buy a brand new home or another home, you have a home inspector come in, they look at certain things, roof, foundation, etc. What are some of the major high points that a surveyor would look at on a boat for the potential customer?
Well, there's several different aspects there. There's the structural components, the hull, obviously, hull, the stringers, bulkheads, transom, making sure that there's no delamination or moisture in any of the laminate. Checking out the running gear below the waterline, which the haul out is a very important part of the survey process also. The survey comprises the entire vessel. It's a full bow to stern inspection. As far as what's the most important part there, you could have great running engines in a boat that's falling apart and that may sink, and then what's the point? So you kind of have to look at the big picture.
Okay.
And look at the overall condition of the vessel, and look at what the real market value of the vessel is, because in reality, I don't want to ever call a boat purchase an investment, because it never is.
Right. They never seem to be.
But you are investing a substantial amount of money into a boat, and the safety is paramount as far as I'm concerned. So that's the number one thing I'm looking at, is to make sure that that boat is safe for that customer and their family when they take the boat out.
So part of the survey is the estimation of the boat value.
Yes.
And you do that through, how is that done? Is that just through knowledge of your experience, or is there a database that you have access to for boat sale prices?
With the surveying, there's no specific formula as far as coming up with the true market value of the boat. Everyone sort of has their own way of doing it. Websites that I find to be the most useful is one called soldboats.com, which is what a lot of yacht brokers will use. Right. And with that, I can tell what a boat has. It'll tell you how long the boat's been on the market, what they were asking when they put the boat up for sale, and what they actually sold the vessel for. And generally, it'll give you a good description of the boat in there, if the boat was listed by a broker anyway. Okay.
Yeah, and you have to pay a monthly access fee.
Yeah.
For that, right?
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah.
But it's not something that I, as a private individual, I would recommend signing up for, because it's really not worth your
if you're looking at or selling lots of boats, then it's probably beneficial, but not for the average consumer.
But to answer your question, the way I come up with the value of the vessel is I use soldboats.com, I use BucValue, I use the professional version of that, BucValue Pro, NADA, ABOS, and I've kind of come up with my own formula where I can put those numbers together. I assign the vessel a a condition number between 1 and 100.
Okay.
0 being
Sinking.
Yes, and 100 being pristine or better than new.
Okay.
And I can take all those numbers, put them together, and really give I don't want to say a scientific formulation as far as the value of the boat, but it's not just me pulling a number out of where.
Right.
So, and from what I found, as far as I can, in my opinion, I give a very close approximation of what the boat's true value is.
Well, I know for my particular survey, the estimation was pretty much what I ended up paying for the boat. So, I mean, can't complain about that. If a potential new buyer is coming and looking at multiple boats, so they're just starting their boat process and they're on Yacht World or Craigslist or wherever they are looking for boats, what is, I guess, maybe the best timeline for finding you to come do a survey on a boat? I mean, should they do that the first time they see something that they like on Yacht World, or is it after the person sees it, after the person has already talked to the previous owner? How does that normally work best for the potential buyer?
Well, typically I'm contacted after there's already been a firm offer that's been accepted by, between the buying and selling parties. That's when I get brought in. But I have been brought in for somebody from overseas that might not be able to see the boat. I'll offer a mini survey where I'll go down and look the boat over, make a list of deficiencies, and send some pictures and some video off to them.
Just to make sure they don't fly across the ocean for something that's a 0.
Exactly. Okay. Typically, I get brought in once somebody has really figured out what they want and they've picked out a boat that they're serious about. And they've made an offer on, and because my pre-purchase surveys start at about $20 a foot. Mm-hmm. So you are paying me I don't want to say a considerable amount of money for my time, but you need to.
It's good money. You need to know that you're pretty ready to do it. I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's kind of the pre-purchase survey. You do several other types of surveys. Is that correct?
I do some. I do a fair amount of insurance surveys. I don't do a whole lot of claims work, though. Okay. I do a lot of insurance surveys for people who need to keep their insurance or renew their insurance.
Right. They're usually much better spirits than people who are doing a claim, right?
Yeah. And I also enjoy doing the insurance surveys as well, because I walk on board a customer's boat and they may think their boat is great, it's perfect, and sometimes I'm kind of giving them bad news when I find problems, but a lot of times it'll be dry rotten fuel lines, stuff that electrical systems that are not up to code, and they're potential hazards that could be dangerous for them and their family. And some are happy that I've found the problems, and some are will argue with me about it and say it's been like that for 30 years, but it's been wrong for 30 years. But
so onto the codes, the standards for inspection, I guess, is that ABYC standards? Is that like general electrical standards that would be used outside of the marine environment?
They're all marine related.
Okay.
Typically we go by the American Boat and Yacht Council standards, which are not, you are not required, boat builders are not required to build to that spec, but they are basically best boat building practices.
Okay. Are there requirements like from the U.S. Coast Guard or something for boat builders?
Yeah, there are, as far as a lot of the fuel systems, the electrical systems, and
navigation lights.
Exactly. Yeah, safety gear and things of that nature. It's mainly the U.S. Coast Guard, and I use ABYC as a standard.
Okay. Are there associations, I guess, that surveyors are members of to provide a generic standard for all surveyors, or can anybody with a business card become a surveyor?
The sad thing is that anybody with a business card can declare themselves a surveyor, but in reality they're really not going to get any real work. Because without having the credentials, either there's two main organizations, SAMS, which is the Society of Accredited Marine Surveyors, and NAMS.
Okay.
There's also IIMS, International Institute of Marine Surveyors, also. That's another large organization. They're more international,
Okay.
though, and they deal with a lot more commercial stuff. They do a fair amount of recreational as well.
So would they be the surveyor organization overseas, like if you're purchasing a boat in France or something, or are they stateside and they just work internationally?
Both.
Okay.
I mean, SAMs were the Society of Accredited Marine Surveyors were international. We had surveyors in Europe and Africa and Australia and all over the world. So, well, depending on your locale, you should be able to find a SAMs surveyor.
What are the requirements for SAMs? Because you're a member of SAMs, correct? So, like, what are the annual or semi-annual requirements, whatever you may have?
With SAMs, we're required to have a certain amount of continuing education credits, which I think it's a great idea to keep your skills sharp and to continue learning, because you never really know it all. Right. And going through refresher classes and going to new certification classes. I'm going to be taking a marine corrosion seminar this spring. I think it's great to continue learning.
No, it's the same thing. My wife, she's a dental assistant, so I think pretty much everybody in medical field, they have to do continuing education requirements. And then when I was flying, it wasn't necessarily a continuing education requirement, but you're required to do so many tasks, iterations for each year to maintain your certificate.
Yeah, and we're also required to do a certain amount of surveys every year, required to do a minimum of 12 surveys a year.
Is that a specific survey, like pre-purchase survey, or just any survey?
Really, any survey.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the pre-purchase survey, so if you're buying a boat, you have a surveyor like yourself come out and check it out, and there is a list of deficiencies, hopefully not too long, but there's always some, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. Do you offer advice for the new owner, or is there anything that do you offer for, hey, this is broken, this is how much I would expect it to cost?
I do not.
Okay.
That's how you end up in court. So
because you're the surveyor.
You're the surveyor. You're basically there to just give the facts.
So if your surveyor is trying to fix your engine for you, that's probably a good time to stop the survey.
Stay away. Yeah. He may have recommendations for you. You know, your manifolds are hot, are running warm, and he might make recommendations. But if he says, I can fix that for you.
Yeah.
It would be like a home inspector telling you you've got termites and then him telling you that he fumigates also. Mm-hmm. As far as giving estimates is concerned on surveys, that's the number one question I get when I'm doing the survey process. Mm-hmm. And it'll be real easy with my background to say, okay, that's going to cost $2,000 or whatever the number may be, but
it's just not ethical to do that.
It's an ethical question also, but let's say I say it's going to be a $2,000 repair. He says, that potential buyer goes to the broker or goes to the seller and says, look, I'm going to buy the boat, I want $2,000 off. Mm-hmm. He brings the boat to a boat yard or a couple of boat yards, and that repair ends up being $5,000, $6,000. Then that person's going to come back to me and say, Mike, you cost me $4,000. Mm-hmm. I don't want that. Yeah. And you're making estimations based on what you're seeing, at the moment. Yeah. So best practice would be to write up your full list of deficiencies, and I'll tell the customer, feel free to take this list and go over it with your mechanic or your repair facility, or email it to them. Maybe they can give you a ballpark number as far as what they think the repair will cost, or if it's a fiberglass issue. A lot of times you can get somebody to come out and give you an estimate for those repairs.
We're here near Norfolk, Virginia today. What is your general service area? Like, how far away or how long do you travel to conduct surveys?
Basically, I'll travel anywhere if you're going to pay me enough. So
if I buy your tickets to France or go to France?
Yeah, let's go. But as far as my area is concerned, I typically stick to Maryland, Virginia, Delaware, North Carolina. But, I've gone as far south as Florida. So
is there anything else you can think of that I may have forgotten to ask about not only surveys in general and how that works with the purchase process, but about your business or anything? What would separate my company from some other surveyors that are out there would be my expertise and my experience as a mechanic and also as a certified marine electrician. And also as a licensed captain. I've got a 100-ton U.S. Coast Guard master's license
as well. Not that I would actually do the repairs, but knowing what to look for, I think would definitely give me an edge over somebody else. A lot of surveyors, they won't even really look at the engines.
Yeah, that's what I was told on my previous boat. And then so I was happy when I called you up and you were like, hey, I'm an engine guy, I know what I'm doing, no problems, you don't have to bring anybody else in. So that was a big plus.
I try to be a one-stop shop as far as that's concerned, and I also have the engine software for most gas engines and outboards as well. So I'm able to compression check the engines for you, do an engine download, tell you how many hours are on the engine, how the boat's going to run, really give you more of a better picture mechanically as far as what you're looking at.
So if somebody around the area wants to get a hold of you for another boat survey, where would they contact you?
You can go to my website, which is truebluemarine.com.
Okay.
Or you could call my cell phone, which is 757-325-9085.
I had a good time sitting down with Mike today for the survey. Like I said, he helped me out with the purchase of YOLO and was fantastic. Absolutely no issues with his work or the survey afterwards. Everything he seemed to find, I have found since then moving the boat around. So it was great. And thanks again for the interview, Mike.
Good deal. Thank you.